We will discuss today the ammeter and the voltmeter. What is ammeter and what is voltmeter, and what is the difference between the two? So first of all, the ammeter. It is an instrument which is used to measure currents. For example, you see this is a circuit, a source of EMF, two resistors R2 and R1, and here an ammeter is connected. So what does this ammeter do? It measures the current flowing in this circuit. So to insert an ammeter into a circuit, keep in mind that the wires of the circuit, you see, they needs to be cut first or are broken, and then you will insert this ammeter between these two wires, because now these are separate wires, and you will put the ammeter inside it. So you see the both terminals of the ammeter are connected to the wire. So the point which needs to be taken care of is that the resistance of the ammeter, it must be much smaller than the resistors present in the circuits. For example, you see R1 and R2 are two resistors, and they have some resistances. The resistance of this ammeter should be much smaller than the R1 and R2. Why? The reason for that is that if the ammeter has a much smaller resistance, then the current passing through this ammeter, that will not be measured correctly. In other words, the ammeter will affect the current passing through it. So the real current which is flowing in the wire, that won't be measured. So for that purpose, to avoid this issue, it is important that the resistance of the ammeter should be smaller than the resistances of the external resistors in the circuit. So the next is the voltmeter. It is an instrument which is used to measure potential differences. For example, you see here, this is again the same circuit. If you intend to measure the currents between these 2 points C and D, or in other words across R1, then we connect the voltmeter to these 2 points. One terminal is connected to the C point, the other terminal is connected to the D point. But how it is different from the ammeter in terms of insertion is that here we don't need to cut the wire. Okay, we simply put the voltmeter and the wire is passing through it. So the point which needs to be kept in mind is that resistance of a voltmeter, it should be very larger than the resistance of any circuit element across which the voltmeter is connected. For example, R1 and R2 are resistors in this circuit, and the resistances of these two resistors, that should be much less than the resistance of voltmeter. The reason for that is that if voltmeter doesn't have a larger resistance than the resistances of R1 and R2, then it will affect the voltage across these two terminals. So how it is different from the ammeter? In the ammeter, the resistance should be very small than R1 and R2, while in the voltmeter, the resistance should be much larger than the R1 and R2. However, In reality, voltmeter or ammeter nowadays are not separate instruments, rather they are grouped in a single instrument. For example, you see this instrument which is called multimeter. So the purpose of multimeter is that it measures the currents, it measures the voltage, even it measures the resistance. So so the purpose of the multimeter is that it it measures the voltage, resistance, and current, and by changing a switch you just simply measure either current or resistance or voltage. So you will rotate this knob. Thank you very much.